What is going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. Today we are checking out the new Pedals Rattler Mark II. This is an enhanced version of the original Rattler that covered all of those great 80s distortion tones, but there's some more going on with this one. First of all, there was a chip, I believe it was called the LM308, that had been discontinued. So Jam Pedals went to great lengths to create a new custom discrete op amp that covers all of those tube amp dynamics, the saturation and the feel. It's all there. So that's one of the enhancements. Another enhancement is the ability to choose between asymmetrical clipping or symmetrical clipping. That's a really cool feature. The last enhancement, which in my humble opinion is the coolest, is a boost. Now, it's not just a boost. It's not like, oh, it's adding more volume or, whatever. It's actually a mid boost that's voiced really, really nicely to the front end of the circuit. That's a great feature. So those are all the new things going on. Let's look at what's on top of the box. So you have a level control. We know what that does. You have a gain control. We know what that does. We'll check out the range in the demo. And then you have a tone or treble control. We'll check that out in the demo for sure. There's a switch on the right side of the pedal that allows you to choose between the aforementioned clipping. So it's either asymmetrical or symmetrical. In the down position, it's symmetrical. In the up position, it's asymmetrical. We'll definitely get into how that sounds in the demo. You have two foot switches on the bottom. The one on the right bypasses the pedal. The one on the left engages that mid boost. Now, there are things inside the pedal that you can tweak. The mid boost, most importantly, in my opinion, has a mini potentiometer on the inside of the pedal that you can adjust. So the way it comes from the factory is at the maximum setting. But if you want less boost into the pedal, you can turn that down. For demo purposes, I left it alone. It's all the way up. Personally, I would probably turn it down a bit, but for demo purposes, I left it as it was from the factory, but that's a really nice feature, so you can tweak that in. There's also a little mini dip switch that allows you to choose between the amount of low end that occurs when that boost is engaged. It comes from the factory set in the down position, which would be less low end. If you want more low end, then you can go in there and tweak that and get more low end depending on what guitar you're using, what amp. It's a really, really nice feature, but I just wanted to let you know that I am demoing this in the factory spec settings. So let's check this thing out. It is the Jam Pedals Rattler Mark II. All right, let's get into this thing. Here's the guitar into the thing that makes the guitar louder. The kids all call it an amplifier. And here is the Rattler Mark II. Racket, turning knobs and throwing switches. This thing is cool. I started out in the non-mid boost mode, and there's a lot going on there in and of itself, just going between symmetrical and asymmetrical clipping. There's a lot of gain on tap already. The tone circuit works great. Let's do this. I'm going to put it in symmetrical, and let's just check out the gain before I turn on the mid boost. So obviously with the gain all the way off, not a lot happening. About right there is where it starts kicking in. Now obviously the volume's lower. I can compensate with the level if I want to keep that gain that low. As we start turning up the gain, I'll keep the level around there. As I start turning up the gain, it's very typical of this circuit. You're going to get a bunch more lows. So there's obviously a lot of saturation on tap. As you dime that thing, it's going to go from overdrive to more distortion to really kind of fuzz territory. Now this is in the symmetrical clipping mode, so we've heard the gain there. I'm going to put the gain, let's just put it at 12 o'clock or noon. I'm going to throw the symmetrical or asymmetrical switch, the clipping. So right now we're in symmetrical. It's subtle, but at the same time, it depends on how you have this thing dialed. But that's what that switch is doing, and I love it because I was able to choose between the two. If I was doing rhythm stuff, sometimes it felt like the symmetrical was better. But then for certain solo stuff, I felt like asymmetrical was better. So just the option is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and sweep the treble. I'll just leave it in symmetrical. Treble off. So it's a pretty broad range. I just rolled the treble off just to be a smart aleck on the guitar because I was thinking, what would happen if I did that? And that's what would happen. Turn the treble all the way up and then rolled the treble off on the guitar to get somewhat that sound. But that's the range on the treble. I like it. The treble is trouble. Yeah, I think it's a really usable range. Kind of like it about right there. So that's what's going on there. Obviously level. Off is off. So you can start at unity. About right there, and then you can go above unity. So the level control is really usable, obviously, as you keep turning it clockwise to add gain to the front of your amp, or I should say hitting the amp harder. Once again, more low end, so you would have to dial accordingly. It's a good amount of boost, especially if you have the gain turned down like I mentioned earlier. So that's what's going on with the level control. Let's look at this mid-boost circuit. I really dig it. The way I have it set up right now, as I mentioned earlier, there's an internal mini potentiometer that allows you to back that off. It comes from the factory pretty much dimed, so it's the most amount of mid-boost into the input of the Rattler. I personally would probably turn that down a bit, but I always leave things stock for demo and then let you know that you can change that. And in this case, you certainly can. But here's what's going on with that mid boost. In my humble opinion, that's all the right stuff. That's the type of thing that I would want at the front of a circuit that's a tried and true, just amazing sounding circuit from the 80s. That's what I would want in front of it, is that type of mid boost. As I mentioned, I would probably turn it down a bit so it didn't add quite so much gain, but I really like that. So I don't need to explain it. You can hear what's going on. All right, the guitar's out of tune. Yay! That is the Rattler Mark II. If you've got any questions, definitely go to the Jam Pedals site. And as always, I so appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you on the next one.